There are people out there who seem completely ordinary, maybe even charming, but they're hiding something truly terrifying.
A kind of duality.
Exactly. And today we're diving deep into the story of one such man, someone whose name became infamous for this exact kind of disturbing contrast.
We're talking about John Wayne Gacy. It's a name that really brings a specific kind of horror to mind, doesn't it? Because of that massive gap between who people thought he was and what he actually did.
Right. This was mostly happening in the 1970s near Chicago, Illinois. And the number of murders he was eventually convicted of is just staggering.
Truly appalling.
Yeah.
And the thing that really sticks with people, the part that made him a media sensation in the worst way, was his nickname.
The killer clown.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Because, by day, or at least publicly, he was often this friendly guy, even entertaining people, especially kids.
But behind closed doors, a completely different, horrific reality. So our goal here is to kind of unpack that disturbing split between the public face and the private monster.
Yeah, let's try and understand how that was even possible.
Okay, so maybe let's start at the beginning. His early life, background, what shaped him.
Okay, so John Wayne Gacy, born in Chicago in 1942, and from what we know, his childhood wasn't easy. Reports suggest a really difficult relationship with his father.
Difficult how?
Apparently verbally abusive, maybe physically too. Very critical of him. And, while it's absolutely no excuse, we do often see these kinds of early life stressors, particularly abuse, in the backgrounds of people who later commit extreme violence. It's a pattern.
Yeah. But then it sounds like he was close with his mother and sisters.
Reportedly, yes. Which is interesting, right? These complex family dynamics, these contrasts, even within the family unit.
And he had some health issues as a kid, too.
Yeah, some medical problems, blackouts, apparently, a significant hospital stay. And later he talked about a pretty disturbing experience when he worked briefly at a mortuary out in Las Vegas.
Working at a mortuary. Wow. Okay. So you've got the difficult father, the medical issues, this early exposure to death.
It's a complex mix. And we also know he dabbled in politics pretty early on, which might seem surprising given, everything else.
It really does, because outwardly, before everything came crashing down, he seemed to be building a pretty conventional life, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly. He got married twice, actually, had kids from the first marriage, and he started his own construction business, PDM contractor.
TDM contractor.
Right.
It's like he was trying to create this normal facade, maybe trying to cover up or compensate for the darker stuff going on inside.
That outward attempt at normalcy really makes the eventual revelations even more shocking, doesn't it?
Absolutely. That contrast is key to why people were just so horrified.
Oh, okay, so let's talk more about that public persona, the image he built. He was active in the community.
Very much so, by many accounts. Known for helping neighbors, the kind of guy who'd lend a hand. Seems like he wanted to be seen as a pillar of the community.
Which raises that huge question. How can someone doing those things also be the helpful neighbor? It points towards a remarkable ability to deceive, a kind of superficial charm that can mask really profound disturbance. Sometimes you see that associated with traits of psychopathy or antisocial personality disorder.
And he hosted big parties, too.
Oh, yeah. Big annual summer parties. Apparently hundreds of people would come, local politicians, business folks. He was really embedding himself socially.
And then the clown thing. That's the part that's just so chilling.
It really is. He got involved with a local clown club. And he didn't just, show up sometimes. He created his own characters.
Pogo the clown and Patches the clown, right?
Exactly. Developed his own makeup, costumes, really invested in these alter egos.
And he performed everywhere.
Pretty much. Children's hospitals, parties, parades, even political functions. Like you said, there's that infamous photo of him shaking hands with First Lady Rosalind Carter.
As Pogo or Patches?
No, just as himself, Gacy, because he was involved in local Democratic Party precinct work. But still, the connection is jarring. It's that juxtaposition, isn't it? The image of the cheerful clown, innocence, childhood joy, tied so directly to unimaginable darkness, it just shakes your faith in appearances.
Okay. So, holding that public image in mind, now we have to shift to the brutal reality, the murders.
It's a jarring shift. His method, from what investigators pieced together, often started with gaining trust.
Yeah.
Offering young men work, usually through his construction business, or sometimes just, plying them with alcohol or drugs to lower their guard.
And he used handcuffs as a trick.
Yeah, a deeply disturbing tactic. He'd pretend it was a magic trick to get the handcuffs on him, and then they were restrained.
Yeah.
Vulnerable.
Then
Then came horrific abuse. torture. His main way of killing them was strangulation, often using a rope tourniquet.
God. When did this start?
The first known murder seems to have been January 1972. And initially, he buried the bodies in the crawl space under his own house.
Under the house. How many?
Many of them. And there were reports he used quicklime.
Quicklime. Why?
Calcium oxide. It reacts with moisture, generates heat, and basically speeds up decomposition.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to manage the evidence, presumably.
Horrifying. And eventually, the crawl space filled up.
It did. Grimly, yes. He even buried one victim under the concrete floor of his garage.
Mm-hmm.
But as he ran out of space there, he started taking bodies to the Des Plaines River and dumping them.
And the pace picked up.
It seems so. Especially between 1976 and 1978. A really high frequency of murders in that period. It suggests a deepening compulsion, things escalating.
Just spiraling further and further.
It's a truly chilling pattern of intensifying predatory behavior.
Hmm.
And importantly, one intended victim actually survived an attack.
Really? What happened?
He managed to escape and reported the assault to the police. That put Gacy on their radar, at least for questioning.
Okay, so there was a prior report, and then what finally triggered the big investigation?
The disappearance of a teenage boy, Robert Piest, in December 1978. He was last seen talking to Gacy about a potential job. That disappearance really set things in motion.
So the mask was starting to slip.
Yes, that carefully built facade. The helpful neighbor, the funny clown, was about to crumble, revealing the monster underneath.
So with the disappearance of Robert Piest, the investigation intensified. The police got search warrants for Gacy's house.
Right, and they started finding things, suspicious items, not just, ropes or restraints, but specific personal belongings linked to other missing young men.
That must have been a chilling moment for investigators, connecting the dots.
Absolutely. It moved from suspicion to direct links. They put him under surveillance, started really digging.
And people started talking.
Yeah. Former employees came forward. They recounted seeing suspicious things, odd activities, things that didn't make sense at the time, but suddenly seemed sinister in this new context.
And wasn't there something with search dogs?
Yes, that was crucial. Cadaver dogs, trained to detect the scent of decomposition, alerted on his car. A huge piece of physical evidence.
So the net was closing in fast.
Definitely. He must have felt the pressure mounting, and eventually he confessed.
Just like that.
Well, not quite just like that. It was apparently a long, rambling confession to his lawyers. But in it, he admitted to killing numerous young men and told them where the bodies were.
Under the house.
Primarily, yes. And the subsequent search, the discovery of those remains in the crawl space. It was gruesome confirmation of everything. Just horrific for everyone involved.
I can only imagine. So then came the trial.
A huge media circus, naturally. His defense tried the insanity plea, argued he wasn't legally responsible for his actions.
But the prosecution pushed back.
Strongly. They argued he was sane, methodical, knew exactly what he was doing. They pointed to the planning involved, the luring of victims, the efforts to conceal the bodies, all signs of premeditation, not insanity.
And the jury agreed.
They did. Found him guilty on 33 counts of murder. An unbelievable number.
And the sentence?
Death. He was sentenced to death.
Did the execution happen quickly?
No. He spent years on death row appealing. But eventually, the appeals ran out. He was executed by lethal injection in 1994.
So that closed the legal chapter. But the aftermath, identifying all those victims.
A massive, painstaking task. Dental records, x-rays, any personal items found with the remains. Investigators worked for years.
And they identified everyone?
Tragically, no. Despite incredible effort over decades, several victims remain unidentified even today. It's a lasting agony for potential families out there.
That's heartbreaking. Just underscores the sheer scale of it all.
It really does. The trauma for the families, the community, it lingers.
Did anything change because of this case? Any wider impact?
Yes, significantly. The way missing persons cases, especially involving children and young adults, were handled changed. It contributed directly to developing better procedures, which eventually led to things like the Amber Alert system.
So some positive changes emerged from this horror.
In a way, yes. A grim catalyst for improving protections. There was also, and still is sometimes, speculation about accomplices, whether he could have done all this alone.
Has anything ever been proven?
No definitive proof has ever emerged that he had helped with the murders themselves, though some people remain convinced. It adds another layer of unanswered questions to an already complex case.
So, wrapping this up, it's hard to find the words, really. The sheer disturbing nature of Gacy's double life.
It truly is. That stark contrast,
Yeah.
The friendly guy, the clown, versus the sadistic killer hiding beneath. It's a profound example of human capacity for deception.
And the impact on the families, the community, it's immeasurable. The fact that some victims are still unidentified.
It highlights the ongoing pain, the lack of closure. It's a wound that for some may never fully heal.
This case really forces you to confront unsettling ideas about human nature, doesn't it? How darkness can hide in plain sight.
Absolutely. The potential for such extreme violence to exist behind such an ordinary, even friendly, facade, it's deeply challenging to comprehend.
It certainly makes you think about deception and what might lie beneath the surface. Maybe something for our listeners to reflect on the complexities this case reveals about people and communities.
A difficult subject, but an important one to understand, I think. Thanks for exploring it with me.
Thank you. And thank you all for joining us on this deep dive.